Hey there everyone, Pally here, and welcome back. It's time for episode 12. I think we're up to episode 12 for the Dark Souls Remastered walkthrough. So we just made it down through Blighttown, and we're going to go ahead and... What is this area called? This isn't the depths. This is below Blighttown. Is this still considered Blighttown? I forget what the actual zone is called, but we're going to go ahead, we're going to clear through here. There's quite a few items to be picked up here. There's a little farming area if you want to get some green titanite, which is used for upgrading... what weapons use green titanite? There's certain weapons that do, or maybe that's more armor, I forget. But there's some levels like that, and then there's just a whole lot of other items to be picked up, including the Soul of the Firekeeper. There we go. That's what I'm looking for. First thing though is getting invaded by Man-Eater Mildred right here. So just as long as we're not hollow, if we come out here, run around that little area for the first second, we are going to get invaded by a red phantom. She'll come on in here, and we do want to kill her because we can then later summon her to help with Quelaag, who is the main boss of this area. And after Quelaag, we can actually go ahead and ring the second Bell of Awakening, which will open up Sen's Fortress to move forward in the game if that is the route we want to go. Probably not right away the way we're going to go, but we definitely could. With the Big Zwei, she goes down quite handily. Not much of a problem there. Yep, there's Man-Eater Mildred. She's a reoccurring enemy. She will be back, not so much more in this game, but she does show up in Dark Souls 3. I think she also shows up in Dark Souls 2, if I remember correctly. She definitely shows up in 3. They might have renamed her, though, but it's definitely the same sprite and everything in that. Where's my coffee? This is the last of the post commentaries. I did figure out what happened. There was a driver patch. They updated the Shadowplay, the GeForce Experience, and it reset my microphone to like the headphone microphone, which I don't even have a microphone on my headphones, but whatever. Anyway, so yeah, we're gonna just call this area, we'll call it Lower Blighttown or whatever as we go through here. Essentially, it's kind of a long oval. Now, there is some terrain features that kind of swoops it in, but from if the bonfire is kind of the center of the bottom of the oval, we want to go to the left first just for clearing things out. As we do this, you're going to be poisoned pretty much the entire time. So you're going to want to wear whatever your best poison and anti-poison gear is, and just deal with it. Just tank through it until then. If you got this, what is this, the Shadow set from Blighttown, that'll work okay. The Thief set's not as good, but it'll work alright and everything. But as long as you keep your Estus Flask up, let it go until you're down to about 1/3 of your health left, then Estus up. You're also going to want a faster, higher swing weapon. This is why we have the straight sword here that we're using. I think it's the straight sword that I'm flipping back and forth between. Trying to hit them with a low swinging sword or a heavy sword like the Zweihander is just very, very difficult. Ideally, what you want is an overhand swing, like comes up over the shoulder, and is fairly fast for killing these bugs. And there's a lot of these bugs. There's probably 20 or so of them. Luckily, there's nothing super strong in this area that you really need to worry about swimming back and forth too much. So yeah, like we said, it is sort of an oval. What we're here now is we're on the other side of the oval. So we walked across from, say we were the 6 o'clock position, we're now in more or less the 12 o'clock position. And here are the first of the green slime things. I don't know what these things are called. A lot of these things don't have names in the game, but those are what have the high drop chance of titanite. Green titanite to be specific, but I think they can also drop titanite chunks. Over here in the corner, that is the Pyromancer starting set plus a Pyromancy. Worth having, I guess. We're doing everything. We're going to work our way around. So that is the area we came down, that fenced in, or wooden walkway area you were seeing there. That was the way we came down from Blighttown. So that was the last little descent area with all the flame guys you were seeing, and then you hug the wall to the right there back around to the bonfire. So we're kind of just cutting out through the middle there into this group of 3 slimes here, which are going to lead up into the hollow, I think it's called. Oop. I'm chasing this. That one looks like it has an item on it. It's just rolling over. It's just a weird light effect on the water. There's like a double reflection going on. And then we're going to head up top here. So this is a ramp up on the root of this tree here, or the base of this tree. We're kind of below the base already. We will be back for that item. Don't worry about it. But we're going to come up here. As we come in here, here's an item. I think this is just like just some crab plank shield. But behind him is a illusionary wall. It's actually a little bit to the left of him. It leads to a chest. Twin Humanity is much better. Now behind the chest is another illusionary wall. Break through that, and then you can go ahead and head on back in here. And there's actually going to be a bonfire here, the Great Hollow. Yeah. So you're going to head on back in here, and then we'll be able to light that bonfire. You may not want to light this bonfire quite yet, because doing so is going to reset everything there. Or you can light it, but don't rest at it. I think I rest at it. I make a little bit of a mistake there. And hey, this is not a big deal. You know, we killed a few slimes, and those bugs are going to come back out, but that's about it. What I was trying to do, I don't know why I rested, but yeah. The Great Hollow and pushing on forward is an entirely optional area. It does lead down to one of the covenants, the Dragon Covenant. The thing about the Great Hollow is it's a pain in the butt area, full of twinkling titanite lizards, though. And that was what I was seeing. There was one down there on that little landing there. There's like 8 or 10 of them throughout the entire area. Quite a few of them. They're a pain in the butt to get, but if you're upgrading, say, the Eastern armor set and you need a whole lot of it, that's probably the best place to get a good bit of it before you move forward. We will come back and eventually do that area, just not right now. So we're going to come back out here. We're going to head back down. So this is still considered Blighttown. Okay, I thought so. Although Blighttown's technically above us, this is still considered, I guess, until we get down below Quelaag. At this point here, I'm probably going to change my mind. In fact, I know I'm going to change my mind. While the Zwei is doing great damage to these things, the fact that they come in groups and they kind of like to jump around and spit at you and everything, the swing up on it is just a little too long, making it a bit of a challenge to fight these guys, or more of a challenge than it needs to be. Large Titanite Shard right there. Green Titanite Shard. Yeah. So they do drop large Titanites, not just greens. And large do come in handy. You know, there's a point where, in fact, where we're at with a lot of our stuff, we want the large Titanite Shards over the regular ones. And later on we can buy them well, we could actually almost head to that area after this, but a little bit later in the game, you can buy them from a vendor, similar to how you can buy the regular Titanite Shards from Andre. You will be able to buy the large ones, but yeah, here's a good farming area for them. Unfortunately, these things don't drop a whole lot of souls, so you don't get a good double dip, right? You're only getting, let's see, how many souls are we getting? 121 souls out of each one of these things. Not very good for soul farming. Speaking of farming, if you're going to do a lot of farming, like if you're after large Titanite Shards or something along those lines, something that is very good to do is consume humanities. That humanity number in the upper left-hand corner right now, the 0, the 1 I have, the higher that number, it increases the chances of item drop rate. Now, it doesn't quite scale linearly, like 2 doesn't give you a drastically improved rate over 1 or whatever, but around 15 or 20, you will start noticing a significant improvement in drop rate on items off of mobs like this. So that is something to keep in mind. If you have an excess of humanity, you've been doing a lot of co-op, you know, you've been helping other people with boss fights, and you have quite a few humanities, you know, go ahead and consume a bunch, and then you'll go ahead and be able to do this. But do it after you've gone through the area and you have a feel for the area. You don't want to die and lose them. What we're testing here is the Claymore is strong enough to just one-shot these guys. It is a much faster swinging weapon, so we're going to go ahead and we're going to use the Claymore rather than the Zweihander for the moment. Yeah, right there. That's a lot easier to do than the Zwei. Whoops, get caught by the spit. We're just working through here. That's a weapon over there. It's a weapon I've never actually used. It's a two-handed strength-based weapon, I believe. No, it's a one-handed strength-based. Well, even two-handers can be single-handed. But it has a unique stat on it that it heals you on damage dealt or kills, something to that effect. It's not a lot. It's similar to the ring from the depths. right there, the server. It's similar to the Rink from the Depths, where like every time you get a kill, you get a small percentage, like 10 health or something back. It's not a huge amount, but it does heal you. I suppose if you stack everything together, it may help. But yeah, there's that weapon. Now we're gonna head on back around. Unfortunately, all those flying wasp things are gonna be back because I, rested at that bonfire like I shouldn't have. But oh well, we'll deal with them as they come. Good coffee. I do this on my Saturday mornings. It's kind of my thing. I go through and I'll record out about 4 episodes, record about 2 hours, get 2 hours of Dark Souls in, and then, get on with my day and drink my coffee. Go ahead and get rid of this guy. So that's majority of the major items that we want to get out that way. It's mainly that Titanite Shard, the Pyromancer stuff, and then that weapon. There is the Great Club coming up here. It's a bit more of a challenging fight. If you're not going for a strength build, there's no real need to do it. You have to take down 2 of the large, I don't even know what they would be called, but the guys that drop dung and everything. 2 of those that actually have these large boulders they're going to throw at you. You can sometimes separate them out and fight them one at a time, but they generally come in a group of 2. So just be a little cautious. We'll get that here in a moment after we get rid of this fire dude over here in this soul effect. Rid of that. Pick up the large Proud 9 Soul. That's worth pretty much. A large Proud 9 Soul, that's like 10,000 souls, so worth having. Right there is the jump up. So that over on the left. Woo, game hung there a little bit. I wonder if that was a video or the actual recording. Now we're facing the wrong way. Well, we'll see it here in a moment. It's kind of the way back up to the shortcut that we would have taken before. So that's kind of above and to our right is the area where we initially got that red armor set plus the catalyst. So we definitely want to switch back over to the Zwei for this fight. We want to be able to do as much damage to these guys as we can. And they're relatively slow, so the swing up time on the Zwei is not going to be a big problem. The bigger thing is watching for the boulders. So it's not those guys. There's 2 of them in here. You can kind of see one standing on top of whatever that soul item is, and that's the Great Mace or Great Hammer that we're after. Yep. I thought I'd rolled out of that second one, but I definitely did not. And we're just going to let them separate out a little bit. And what to do, you got to be very careful. So that boulder they have over their heads, they can throw it at you, and it has a much larger hitbox than it looks, but they'll also put it on the ground and roll it like that guy did. And again, it has a larger hitbox than it looks. So similar to the Gaping Dragon, you just got to be a little extra careful of how close you get to it. Just realize it's going to hit you from further away than you initially think. So we're far enough away there. We'll let him run by, then we'll run up and backstab him. And as long as you get them doing it, it actually works in your favor to get the backstabs off, but it's a little challenging when there's 2 of them doing it at the same time. Go ahead and knock him down. Generally, these guys, in terms of items, drop absolute crap. Literally absolute crap. That's dung pie right there. I wasn't actually trying to make a pun there, but that's what it was. And then over here is the Great Club. So that is one of the better strength scaling weapons in the game. If we take a look at it, where is it down here? Great Club. Yeah. So the large club actually has better strength scaling, but its damage is notably lower compared to the Great Club, which will have less scaling initially. If you go ahead and level it up with some Titanite, it eventually will take over to A. The regular club's never quite going to catch up to the Great Club, but they're both very good strength-based weapons. Depending on what I'm feeling, I might go ahead and farm out some Titanite Shards at some point and at least get those up to 5, and we can just mess around with them. They're fun for flattening enemies. This is why I can occasionally do that, where you'll just do the big overhead swing and you'll just flatten an enemy. But the Great Club does it very consistently, it's always fun. At this point, we're about 2/3 of the way done with this level, but we want to reset and we want to get our Estus Flask back. So we're about to go back into probably the worst area of all of Blighttown, and that's going to be an area with 4, 5 of those dart spitters that are going to try and curse us. Not curse us. It's Manpower. Get your brain straight. Where we need the sparkling moss or the blooming moss from. They're above us. They're a real pain in the butt, but we want to go through this. This is going to be the Firekeeper soul that we're after, plus a few other items that we can get. And thankfully, once you kill them once, they are gone. But it's a challenge to get through this area. So we're going to want to make sure we have that blooming bright moss equipped and ready to go. Did go ahead and equip that extra pyromancy. But yep, so we're heading up. Initially, I think there's an item back here. I thought there was. I was wrong. What'll happen is sometimes you can kill a guy and he can fall down here and leave an item there. That's kind of what I was thinking. There's a guy up above that likes to fall down there when you kill him. But we're basically going to be taking that. That was an elevator lift up right there. Just a few less items to clear out around here. Come over here. I think there's one more around the side there. Look around. Nope, I am wrong. I could have sworn there used to be an item over here. I don't know. I don't know. I doubt that that's something they would have moved for the remastered edition. Though they did seem to make those guys trigger from less. Those guys normally won't trigger unless you approach them, but there's a little knack to that. They will chase you a little bit depending on where you approach. What I'm doing here is there is a higher level pyromancer who will appear after you've purchased a certain amount of things from the pyromancer back up at the Firelink Shrine. We have not purchased enough, but I was just double checking just in case. So there we go. We're going to cure off our poison just because we're going to want to keep as many essences as we can. We're going to now head up. Use the little elevator thing here, which isn't really an elevator, but it is an elevator. It works all the same. And come over here. The best way to do this is roll off a little bit. Or no, I'm sorry, just step. When you get to the top, you want to roll a little bit. Ride it on up. This thing's kind of funny. If we look at it from the right angle, it's being powered by a dog right there. Roll towards the wall so you don't go right off the back side. And don't try to step or you might just fall down through. You want to use that little plank that's sticking out a little further there as your point to get on. I was going to say was that whole thing's being powered by a dog. They have a dog on a hamster wheel powering the elevator. It's pretty funny. All right. So this area here is what I was talking about before. This is the spot where we came down. In fact, this was like the guy that we leapt down on top of before. And then we ran out the path behind me in order to get to that red armor set. And then there was the catalyst. Or what's the sorcery? Yeah, it's catalyst. And then the sorcery was in the chest and everything. So this was like where we were very beginning, episode 2? 1? I think that was still episode 1. I think we did all this in episode 1. And I'm a little lost at this point. I forget, but this is that long we ran across the other guy. Now we can actually kill this stuff. We actually want to be up one more level. They're a little above us is where we're actually going. So, come on back. These fly things, they're such a pain in the butt. And they will continue to poison you. That's when they bloom up like that. Or maybe it's a bleed effect. I forget. There was a ladder there. Was that a ladder there? Maybe I'm insane. You can see the dart coming down in. So while you're in this area, 1 or 2 of them can shoot at you, but then you advance up to another area where there's 3 of them, I think. They're not cool. Not cool, man. Yeah, here's where we want to be. Yeah, so there you can see that one. There's a guy right there, but then there's another one kind of behind him. That one's dead. All right, he's out of the way. He gave us a purple moss, which is fine. There's another one down into the side across. It's a little hard to see. I don't want this fly attacking me through the floor. Oh, come on. Because he will hit us through the floor. And we can hit him back through the floor. It's just a pain in the butt. There we go. He's dead. But we're going to want faster attack weapons. We can try the bow here. Generally it's not good to trade with these guys if you have an upgraded bow, which isn't bad to do, especially if you're doing a dex build. If you're doing a dex build and you have a bow that's +5, and then you're using maybe some slightly stronger arrows, you can probably do 100-ish damage per shot, which you can trade with these guys and stagger them out and keep them from getting it. With a standard bow like this and a strength build, no upgrades, yeah, that was just not a very good idea. All I ended up doing was pissing them off. Now we got to wait for the blight to cool down a little bit. We're going to go ahead and run forward here. So there you can see there's two on the right, but back up there on the left is another one. Then there's another one up in front and a little bit to the right too. So there's 4 in this area. There's that one. So this one we can take fairly easily. Luckily the damage reduction on the shield is pretty good. But if we get toxined, that's what it is. It's toxin. If we get toxin, it's not the end of the world. We do have 2 bright mosses or blooming mosses that we can go ahead and cure it off if we need to. Now that we got him close enough, we can probably just trade with him here, because even if he does toxin us, and he probably will, he's almost dead. One more good arrow will kill him. The guy that was standing right here, some part of his AI made him hop down. He's actually down below, which in the long run isn't a terrible thing. He's not going to be able to shoot up over this ledge too easily. But down below there is, let's see, 2, 4, 5, 6, maybe 7 of those fire-breathing dogs also. So yeah, we traded fighting him in one tough area for fighting him in another tough area. However, being down below, we can line up and possibly plunging attack him, just get him with one big hit, which will make things a little bit easier. But then you're also plunging attack down into where all the dogs are. Woo! Little hitch again. There's that next one. And get through there. Yeah. No! Come on. Oh, that's right, that guy. He jumped out of the level. I forgot that had happened. So he jumped out of the level, and we wait long enough. Eventually, some point here, we're going to get the souls for him, which will tell us he's dead, which means he's not going to respawn. Come on, where are the souls? Any second now. I'm trying to determine my best approach here. So there's 3 of the dogs there. There's 2 dogs there. There's the souls. There's the items. And there's 2 dogs there. So I'm trying to figure out, like, where's my best approach to taking these dogs on. There is a ladder right there that you can go. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to plunging attack. There we go. Okay, the arrow guy came forward. I was going to plunging attack that dog in the corner. Now instead we're going to plunging attack this guy. And then we're going to hope everything else doesn't aggro. But even if we do, everything else does aggro and we die here, all of the poison moss guys are now gone, or all the toxin guys are now gone. So we can come back here and do this a little more at our own pace. Fighting these dogs, definitely get out a faster sword because they're going to jump away and everything. Probably should have the claymore on rather than the Zwei, because this straight sword just doesn't quite do enough damage. Yeah, we're talking 60 compared to probably... what would the Zweihander do? 240, and the Claymore would probably do like 180, 200. Yeah, probably have the wrong sword equipped here. Come on up here. Oh, we did get to see the dog breathe the fire there. I forgot. That was something I was trying to demonstrate before, and we couldn't get the super dog to do it, but there it is. Yep, see, they will breathe fire. They're similar to the guys down below, the weird bug things that you want to fight. And then there's 2 more dogs up here, and they are protecting the Firekeeper soul that we actually want. Ah, it burns. All right. And that's going to be the last of the big items down here. In fact, I think that's the last of all the items down here. There might be one thing left over as we approach Quelaag that we could get. I think might be a ladder that I missed. I kind of saw it there. I'm going to be interested when I go. So after I'm done doing this, like I said, this is post audio if you haven't caught on. I'm going to boot up and we're going to kick off. Well, we might run up there and see if... It looked like there was a ladder up the one side there that I kind of remember there being, but it's kind of hidden. Just to take a look. There's nothing dangerous on there. And we have to head back out that way anyway to head back up to the Firelink Shrine. Forgot an item up there. That was across from that other guy that jumped through the wall to get away from the mightiness of the Zwei. Yeah, so there's no need to head up any further. That's going to take us back up to the Firelink Shrine, and we will be heading out there probably after we kill the Ceaseless Discharge. I think that'll be the #1 thing. Who's another... Well, he's not optional. Generally, we're a little early for the Ceaseless Discharge. Normally, you'd fight him a little bit later, but he's a fairly easy boss, and he drops a very good set that has, I think, the best poison resistance in the game. So it's a very good set if you want to farm the large Titanite shards. You put it on, and it basically makes the fire damage non-existent. Or not the fire damage, the poison damage from running around in this area. So you can just run through this area forever. And literally like a full bar of poison damage is going to be about half your health. Rather than it being, you know, you have to heal 2 or 3 times through, it's half your health. It's so much poison resistance, it's not even, well, it is funny. It's amazingly good. Go ahead and level up. Let's see here. Go a little more on the strength. And we are pretty much ready to fight and engage Quelaag at this point. Just taking a look here, what we might want to change out. We can do the, oops. We're talking a little bit here about the scaling of it, and that we could put the Great Club on now. But no, let's stick with this Y. Quelaag's another one of those bosses that is, the first time you come across her, very intimidating. And she seems much more dangerous than she really is. Once you fought her a few times and you calm down, she's not all that bad. There's one real big attack you got to watch out for. You want to keep enough stamina where she kind of curls up a little bit and like rears up vertically. And then there's like an AoE knockback effect that she'll launch. And if she hits you with that, that'll hurt you quite a bit. But other than that, it's just move her around the room. The arena you fight her in is very big. So just don't let her get you cornered with the fire. Use the arena to your advantage. And then just save enough energy that if you see her go to do this move, you can back away. And because we killed Maneater Mildred, we can summon her in to help us, who won't do a whole lot of damage, but she will distract her. And being that we have such a high damage weapon, you know, if we can get 2 or 3 big hits in, right there goes a third of her health. That's enough to make Maneater Mildred worthwhile. We just want to stay to the hard right over here as we come up and around. That way those guys, they might still aggro, but basically we just want to use all these like roots or whatever sticking up to our advantage, that if they throw their big rocks or try to charge, they're going to run into that stuff rather than into us. Though this time they didn't actually aggro. Go ahead and consume a moss to get rid of the poison effect. And then, yeah, so now the other thing we can do is change out our equipment to fire resistance would be the next thing that you want to actually go for. This would be, if I had the armor with me, the stone armor is going to be by far the highest fire defense that we have. But the stone armor is also ridiculously heavy, so maybe not the best choice. In the end, I think we end up just wearing our normal armor set. The Eastern armor is pretty good for that. Oh yeah, we wear the, that would make sense, the Pyromancer's gloves. The Tattered set's the Pyromancer's set. Oh, yeah, we can go back to Havel's Ring, where there's no water or anything we need to worry about running around in here. Get rid of the long sword, or straight sword, whatever the heck it is. And let's go. Don't worry about these guys, they won't really do anything. They're more of a set piece for telling part of the lore than anything else. If you attack them, they will fight back, but they'll just sit there and not really do anything if you just run by them. They'll probably die right away, but then you've aggroed them, and then the other ones will try and get you too. Alright, Quelaag. Yeah, sexy spider, scary thing, I don't know. But for the most part, as long as you're not in front of Quelaag, you're okay. You just want to stay on her side. She's got that leap attack that spews out lava in front. You got this one here where she kind of sits down and spews a whole bunch of lava in front of her. And you can see she's already lost a third of her health. That little leg one, that one I forgot about. That one you do have to be, but it's a very slow one. That's not the big knockback one you have to be super worried about. And I am just dual wielding this whole time. You don't really need to worry about, once you've got it down a little bit, there's nothing that you really need to worry about blocking. What I'm waiting for here is I kind of want to get her out of that fire a little bit rather than that. But unfortunately, Maneater Mildred is actually keeping her attention there in that area rather than pulling her back. But here's nope, I'm sorry, that's the breathe forward. That kind of looked like the other one. I'm pretty sure she does it in this footage. I think I get one of them before it goes. There it is. That's the AoE knockdown. That hurts fairly bad. So, and she's done. Yeah, that one AoE knockdown is really the only thing you have to worry about. If you unload too many of your souls, or not too many of your souls, too much of your stamina, and she hits you with that, knocks you down, it's going to do a fair bit of damage, but then she'll generally turn and just breathe fire on you. And then you're like, what happens? I'm on fire. It burns. But yeah, as long as you keep a little bit that you can roll away, you're going to be just fine. It's not a big, it's not that hard of a fight. Just circle a strafer and smack her in the back. Here is the second Bell of Awakening. So that area there, that is Sen's Fortress. The gate that you saw being lifted up, that is directly down the path from the bonfire where Andre is. So when we go to that bonfire, we either head up back in towards like the Firelink Shrine down to Andre, but then there's that third option down the long path that you could go to. That leads right there to Sen's Fortress. Down here's another illusionary wall with one of these spider-egged guys. Talk to him. So, this is Quelaag's sister. She's in charge of a covenant, but she's also a firekeeper, and also we can do pyromancy stuff with that guy there we just talked to. The reason we bring this up is we could kill her and get a firekeeper's soul, which will allow us to do another Estus reinforcement. For now, we're going to hold off because there's more to her tied to the covenant that we want to possibly do. Where there's a door we can unlock for basically a shortcut going forward, but we need a bunch of humanity to do that. I think we need to turn in 30 or 40 humanity in order to get that. We can reinforce our Estus flask from the one that we picked up above. Do I do it? I don't know if I actually remember to do it. I might have forgotten to do it. I think I forgot that I had that soul. Yep, we talked to this guy here. He will have some basic stuff, so you can go ahead and buy, which it's basically the roster for the chaos, but we can improve our pyromancy flame with him if we want to. So for some reason you didn't get the pyromancer way back when, at the beginning of the depths, you can get him there. There's another bonfire. From there, we're going to head out, and there's another bonfire. There's two bonfires here within like 90 seconds of each other, not even 90 seconds, 30 seconds of each other. And then there's the one back up in Blighttown, which I guess is reasonably far away. That one has to be there because you need a spot in lower part of Blighttown to rest at and spawn at to fight Quelaag. But there's two of them right here in quick succession. We got quite a few souls we could spend if we wanted to. What we're considering there is we do want to, before we move on too far, the pyromancer, the advanced one, we want to get her to appear. She's only there for a limited time, so we want to have a fairly significant stock of souls. But what we're going to do is next time we'll pick up from right here. Right there is the next boss fight. You can kind of see the fog wall there on the right. That's going to lead to the ceaseless discharge. That those tentacles above the rocks over there is the ceaseless discharge. We'll pick up with that then, though. Until then, though, this has been Paler. Thanks for watching.